Elon was a good reader very early on. So Elon was very keen on reading about Napoleon, about Alexander the Great. And he even had a copy of Napoleon's last will and testament, which is in French. People would say to him, are you reading that big, thick book, little boy? Some idiot would say to him. And Elon would say, what, are you stupid? You think I'm just looking at the pictures or what, you know? so, you know, but he liked to be with the adults in company. So if the other kids were running around playing, he would like to sit with the adults. He was often told, why don't you go and play with the children? And he'd say, no, I'd rather sit here with the adults.
I would say from the age of 3, I thought he was a genius. He would reason with me, and his reasoning was sensible. And how do you even do that when you don't really have much experience? I wanted him to go to nursery school. They said, well, he makes it by 2 days, but you really should keep him back a year because otherwise he'll be a little socially challenged. And I said, you don't understand. I have a genius son. He needs to talk to someone besides me. And of course they rolled their eyes because every mother thinks their child is a genius.
He said, may I put my hand on your knee? And I said, okay, go on then. So it was quite sweet that he asked. You know, he said, I don't usually do this, but, you know, he said, I'd love to see you tomorrow. Can we meet for breakfast? And we had breakfast. And then at the end of breakfast, he said, will you come and have lunch with me? So then we went for lunch. And then he said, will you come to dinner? And then I remember one evening he said, would you like to come back to my hotel room so we can look at rocket videos?
We were seeing a marital therapist, and I think he just got tired of the stress and the uncertainty of it. And the next day, I went into my therapist's office, and he had left a message for her to tell me that he was filing for divorce. So that was how I found out. One of the more memorable moments of my life, yeah.
As a teenager, Elon didn't have many friends, but he read all the time, through the night. I couldn't get him up in the morning. He read a lot of science fiction. He would read through the night until he saw me getting up, and then he would go to sleep. And then, of course, I had to dress him while he was half asleep and get him to school. Elon, while he was a little boy, he grew up in a very violent home. Like, for example, when I always had to drive the car and he would be punching me and Elon would be between the seats hitting his father to stop him punching me. When he would be at home and punching me, Kimball and Tosca would be crying in the corner because they were really babies. Elon was 5, Kimball 4, Tosca 3. Elon would be hitting his dad at the back of his legs. And then when he was 8, we left.
So
he compartmentalizes his brain. People are coming in and talking to him, and every hour they tell him what's happening. And when you date or marry Elon, you don't see him much. So it is hard to have a relationship in his case.
I mean, I was very young when I met Elon. I was 22, so I hadn't really, that was it, school and a bit of acting. I remember thinking, wow, what an incredible man. Never met anyone like him. And I was just thinking about him. And so I emailed him and said, okay, well, I've got some time after this shoot, so I'm going to book a flight to LA, and I've never been to LA. I'll book myself a holiday and it would be lovely to see you. And he wanted to sort of, you know, fly me over and sort it all out. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll take care of it. And then he said, I don't want you to go home and I want to marry you. And he apologized. He said, I'm sorry, I don't have a ring. He's like, but this is what I'd like to do. And so we shook hands on it. And I said, yes, I will do. My father told my mother at the end of their first date that he was going to marry her. And so I think I was primed to think that after 10 days, you know, I thought, yep, that's how it happens. That's what love is. And
what was that thing, Dad?
You know, obviously moved straight into the house with the children, and it became a very real thing immediately.
What's this game?
Did you just take that from your brother?
Yeah, but I want to see what game it is.
So this is what I'm talking about. Somebody took somebody's toy. Statistically speaking, one out of the 5 has a good chance of being unhappy at any given point.
I think because of my youth, I was relatively gung-ho about it. But essentially our home life was work. I mean, we were focused on the companies and the children, and that was it. Feels with incredible purity the emotion that he is feeling at the time, whatever that emotion is. He feels things very, very deeply. So, you know, I've heard it said that he's cold and emotionless, and that could not be further from the truth. He is the most emotional person I know. One of the things I remember really early on is we'd gone to the cinema, we were watching some comedy, and Elon found the film so funny that he literally fell on the floor and was like rolling around, holding his tummy, laughing. And everyone else in the cinema was looking at us like, what the hell is going on over there? And I was sort of like, no, come on, get up off the floor. But he was just enraptured by what was on screen, and he was feeling it, and he feels things. And, you know, if he feels anger, you know it's there. You know, anything, it goes deep.
I had a lot of nice cars during Elon's youth, Porsche and Mercedes, Ferrari and Maserati. He was always interested in taking the doors apart and all that sort of stuff, because sometimes you had to fix something, and he would do it. He would open it up himself for me. I wouldn't say he was the best mechanic, you know. Most amateur mechanics are a little bit ham-handed, but he would certainly try. He was definitely not a boring child. Not a boring child.
Elon is really dedicated to saving this planet. I'm happy to say that SpaceX and Tesla are in the hands of my brilliant son. Well, genius son. We admire him for that. We don't want to be him, because with those companies, he gets a lot of hate. Stop being mean to him. I hate it when the media are mean to him.